You will not believe what just came out of that courtroom. After years of public drama, baby mama scandals, and non-stop online gossip, Kirk Frost has finally put all the rumors to rest with a shocking court victory that no one saw coming. Jasmine Washington thought she had him cornered, but the truth that Kirk revealed in court turned everything upside down. What came to light in that courtroom had even the judge stunned. And trust me, this isn't just another headline from Love and Hip Hop. This changes everything. For years, the ongoing drama between Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington has played out in front of millions on reality TV, gossip blogs, and across social media. From paternity questions to emotional confrontations, from broken trust to fiery accusations, their story seemed more like a soap opera than real life. But just when it seemed the drama had faded, a new twist emerged this time, inside a courtroom. In this video, we're diving deep into the explosive courtroom battle between Kirk Frost, best known from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and Jasmine Washington, the woman who turned his life upside down with a baby, a public scandal, and a long-standing legal battle that eventually led to one of the most talked-about confrontations in reality TV history. But here's the part no one saw coming. Kirk Frost didn't just defend himself. He came prepared, with documents, testimonies, and a piece of evidence that completely shifted the entire narrative. For the first time in years, we finally got a glimpse of the truth he claims he's been hiding. So, what exactly did Kirk reveal in court? Why did Jasmine walk out of that courtroom looking blindsided? And what does this mean for their future co-parenting relationship and public image? Stick around, because we are about to break down every shocking detail, from the origins of their feud to the game-changing moment that left everyone in the courtroom speechless. Trust me, the revelations go way deeper than anyone expected. To truly understand the gravity of what just unfolded in court, we need to rewind and look back at where it all began. This courtroom drama was years in the making. Kirk Frost, a music manager and longtime cast member of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, had built a reputation as a quiet, yet cunning figure in the southern hip-hop scene. Married to Rashida, the couple had portrayed their life as balanced, successful, and family-focused. But in 2017, everything changed when a young woman named Jasmine Washington dropped a bombshell that rocked their world and the reality TV community. Jasmine claimed she had been in a secret relationship with Kirk for over a year. During that time, she said he not only financially supported her, but he also fathered a child with her, baby Cannon. When this revelation came out, fans were shocked, Rashida was blindsided, and Kirk's response was filled with denials and silence. The public began questioning everything. Why wasn't Kirk taking a DNA test? Why remained silent for so long if he was innocent? Jasmine wasn't just accusing him of infidelity, she was alleging that he had been financially supporting her while keeping their relationship a secret from Rashida and even the show's producers. She even went as far as saying she was living in an apartment Kirk had paid for. This exploded across social media, with fans asking the same questions. Is Jasmine telling the truth? Why is Kirk avoiding the DNA test? When Kirk finally took the test and the results confirmed he was the father of Jasmine's son, the internet erupted with "I told you so." But what happened after that flew mostly under the radar. There was no public reconciliation, no happy co-parenting moment, just more silence. This silence led people to assume the drama had died down. But behind the scenes, Kirk wasn't quiet. He had been quietly gathering evidence, financial records, text messages, phone logs. He kept receipts of every interaction with Jasmine, allegedly preparing for the day when he could tell his side of the story. That day came much sooner than anyone expected. Just when the world thought Jasmine had the upper hand, destiny took an unexpected turn. When Kirk Frost walked into that courtroom, he wasn't the same man we saw years ago dodging questions on Love and Hip Hop. This time, he came prepared, not with cameras or Instagram posts, but with legal documents and a thick folder full of evidence that would turn the entire narrative upside down. The case stemmed from Jasmine filing for full custody and increased child support for their son, Cannon. She claimed Kirk had been inconsistent with payments and unwilling to co-parent peacefully. She painted a picture of a man who was absent, dismissive, and financially neglectful. But here's where it gets interesting. While Jasmine claimed Kirk was absent, he came to court with proof to the contrary. He presented bank statements showing regular deposits into Jasmine's account, many of which were aligned with Cannon's needs, such as daycare, medical bills, and clothing. This evidence completely contradicted the image Jasmine had painted of Kirk as an irresponsible father. It was a major blow to her case, and it left her looking blindsided in the courtroom. But it didn't stop there. Kirk's evidence didn't just expose Jasmine's claims as false, it also cast doubt on her entire narrative. The judge, hearing this new information, was left stunned. What had started as a case about custody and child support had now turned into a battle over trust, honesty, and accountability. Kirk had finally come forward with the truth, and it was clear that Jasmine's version of events was full of holes. The court victory not only changed the narrative, but also had major implications for their co-parenting and public image moving forward. With the truth now out in the open, it is unclear where their relationship goes from here, but one thing is certain: the battle between Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington is far from over. Kirk Frost's legal team came prepared with a mountain of evidence, including text messages that were time-stamped and verified. These messages showed that Kirk had been repeatedly trying to set up visitation dates with Jasmine, only to be ignored or rescheduled at the last minute. One of the messages read, "I'm outside to pick up Cannon as we agreed. No answer." Another time you said Sunday, now you're saying next weekend. "I'm just trying to be present for my son." This left a powerful impression in court, showing that Kirk was genuinely trying to be there for his son despite the obstacles he faced. But the biggest shock came when Kirk's team submitted actual video footage. Yes, you heard that right, surveillance footage. It showed Kirk waiting alone in a public park for over 45 minutes, expecting to meet Jasmine for a handoff of their son. He waited and waited, but Jasmine never showed. The footage painted a very different picture than what had been circulating on gossip blogs and social media. Even the judge seemed taken aback by this. When asked why she had missed multiple scheduled visitations, Jasmine's responses were vague. She mentioned being busy or having something come up, but there were no concrete explanations. At one point, she even admitted to feeling uncomfortable around Kirk due to past emotional issues. While this may have been valid from an emotional standpoint, it didn't carry much weight in a legal case about custody. Kirk's legal team capitalized on this, arguing that he wasn't the absentee father he had been made out to be. Instead, they claimed that Kirk had been trying to be a part of Cannon's life but had been blocked at every turn. They even argued that Jasmine's actions were a form of parental alienation, a term used when one parent intentionally creates barriers between the child and the other parent. The court found this argument compelling, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Kirk didn't just stop at visitation and financial support. He alleged that Jasmine had been manipulating the situation for public sympathy and financial gain. He pointed out that every time she made a post about their custody battle on social media, her engagement numbers went up, and as a result, her sponsorship deals increased. To back this up, Kirk brought in a digital marketing expert who testified that Jasmine's posts about the custody fight led to a significant rise in her earnings and public visibility. This turned the courtroom into something that felt less like a legal battle and more like a reality TV expose. Kirk's team argued that Jasmine wasn't interested in fostering a healthy co-parenting relationship. Instead, they claimed she was using the drama to build her own public profile. As outrageous as it sounds, the judge didn't completely dismiss this theory. By the end of the session, not only was Jasmine's request for more child support denied, but Kirk was granted joint custody, a right he had been quietly fighting for all along. But just when it seemed like the dust had settled, Jasmine shocked everyone. Despite the court ruling, she wasn't ready to accept defeat, not in the public eye, and certainly not legally. She took to Instagram, where she posted a carefully crafted live video just days after the court decision. Dressed in muted colors, with a somber tone and a trembling voice, Jasmine stared directly into the camera and said, "I've been quiet for too long, but I need to protect my son and myself." For over 20 minutes, she emotionally described how difficult it had been raising Cannon without enough support and claimed that the court ruling was manipulated. She suggested that Kirk had connections and used his power and money to create a false narrative. She didn't present any new legal proof or contradict the actual evidence presented in court, but the live session still went viral. What made this even more shocking was the timing. Jasmine strategically went live during a peak social media engagement period, which boosted her reach. According to analytics from blog pages, her live video reached over 300,000 people in just 48 hours, sparking dozens of reactions, hashtags, and media commentary. This was exactly the kind of publicity Jasmine was seeking, and she achieved it with precision. Behind the scenes, sources close to the case revealed that Jasmine had filed for an emergency hearing, claiming she had new evidence of emotional manipulation and financial coercion. What was this new evidence? A series of voice recordings, some dated, some ambiguous, where Kirk allegedly could be heard telling her to get in line and stop damaging his image. It seemed like Jasmine was trying to turn the tables with these audio files. However, when the court reviewed these recordings, things didn't go as planned for Jasmine. Most of the audio files were deemed inadmissible because they lacked timestamps, clear context, and proper authentication. One of the recordings, for example, was just a muffled conversation, and it was nearly impossible to make out any meaningful exchange. The judge appeared frustrated, calling the submission incomplete and unverified. It became clear that Jasmine's legal team had not done enough to properly back up their claims. At this point, it was evident that the courtroom drama was far from over, and the battle for custody and public image was far from decided. But with the evidence that had already been presented, it seemed like the tide was turning in Kirk's favor. While Jasmine's attempts to sway public opinion with social media posts and emergency hearings may have gained her some attention, it was clear that the court was looking at hard facts, and Kirk was holding the upper hand. Scrambling, their strategy shifted from factual evidence to emotional appeal. They brought in a family therapist to testify that Jasmine and Cannon had suffered emotional harm from Kirk's absence and that granting joint custody could trigger instability, but when cross-examined, the therapist admitted they had never met Kirk nor observed any interactions between him and Cannon. This led many to question Jasmine's true intentions. Was this really about protecting her son, or was it about preserving a narrative that kept her relevant? More evidence emerged supporting the latter. A blog uncovered that Jasmine had recently signed a deal with a publishing agent to write a memoir, tentatively titled Unfiltered: My Truth Behind the Cameras. The timing of this revelation was too precise to ignore. It raised eyebrows. Was the custody battle being stretched to build anticipation for the book? But here's what makes this story different. While many assumed Kirk Frost would retaliate publicly, perhaps post a shady comment, drop a diss track, or speak to the press, he remained eerily silent. No Instagram posts, no interviews, not even a subtweet. Instead, sources close to him said he chose to focus entirely on strengthening his legal rights and showing up for his son regardless of the noise. This silence didn't go unnoticed. Many fans began to shift their perspective. One comment on a Shade Room post read, "Say what you want about Kirk, but he's been keeping it classy this time. That court win must have changed him." Another added, "I used to ride for Jasmine, but now it's looking like she milking this for clout." The public tide was turning. Jasmine, once seen as a young mother wronged by a famous man, was now being viewed as someone who may have weaponized motherhood for attention, and the court agreed. Again, her emergency petition was denied. The judge reaffirmed the prior ruling, emphasizing that Kirk had presented consistent, credible evidence, and that the court would not entertain attempts to relitigate settled matters without substantial justification. And just when you thought the storm was over, Jasmine announced a tell-all podcast episode promising to drop the receipts that the court ignored and the truth about what really happened behind closed doors. The teaser trailer for the podcast, it featured audio clips out of context, dramatic music, and the title "Crushed, but Not Broken." Jasmine speaks. What makes this moment so shocking isn't just the media manipulation, but the bold refusal to move forward, even when the law had spoken. But hold up, because what Kirk did, the link to her upcoming memoir, was taken down. People started thinking maybe someone told her to stop. Fans quickly noticed the silence. One person commented, "Kirk did not say a word and still came out on top." Another wrote, "Sometimes the best revenge is just living well and letting the truth speak louder than the gossip." Kirk's journey from being seen as the troublemaker on reality TV to becoming a calm and focused father did not happen overnight. But this win in court, along with the way he stayed quiet, focused on his community work, and avoided the drama, showed something important. He had changed. Maybe, just maybe, the same man who once caused so many problems had finally learned what really matters: peace and his child's future. But hold on, do not think the story is over yet. Jasmine may have lost this round, but people close to her say she is planning something new. There is talk that she wants to make a documentary. She might even try to rebrand herself as someone who stands up for women, especially those who feel mistreated by people in the spotlight. Could this be a new beginning for her? Or is the story finally coming to an end? This whole situation has been like a roller coaster, with more twists than an episode of Love and Hip Hop. From secret paternity tests to dramatic courtroom moments and unexpected comebacks, the story of Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington has been anything but simple. If there is one thing this long fight has proven, it is that gossip might sell headlines, but real evidence is what matters in court. Let's go back for a second. Kirk used to be known for all the wrong reasons: relationship drama, reality TV chaos, and fans always questioning what kind of man he really was. But now, he turned that mess into a message. He stayed quiet, focused on the truth, and turned his past mistakes into motivation. This court win did more than just give him legal rights. It also changed how people see him. No more jokes about being the problem in Rashida's life. No more assumptions that he was a careless father. Now, people are talking about a man who, while not perfect, took a stand for his child in the right way, with proof, not arguments. And Jasmine? She stepped back into the spotlight, trying to share her side of the story. She had every right to speak her truth. But there is a difference between standing up for yourself and mixing emotions with claims that you cannot back up. That line? She may have crossed it. Her podcast may be quiet now, but her story is not over yet. Will she try again? Maybe she will come back with a new image, someone who helps others going through the same struggles. Time will tell. What makes this story so different is not just the drama, it is the message behind it. Because this was never only about Kirk and Jasmine. This was about two parents trying to raise a child while dealing with fame, pressure, and legal battles. And in the middle of it all is Cannon, a little boy who never chose to be part of this. If there is any good that came from all of this, it is that Cannon now has something he really needs: structure, stability, and hopefully, a peaceful future. The court's decision gives both parents a chance to co-parent in a better way, with more understanding of what is truly at stake. And here is something to think about, especially for those watching this story unfold. These days, it is easy to believe that shouting the loudest or posting the most wins the fight. But sometimes, the strongest move is staying calm, knowing your truth, and letting your actions speak. Kirk did that. Whether you like him or not, he stayed quiet, stayed focused, and this time, he earned back some of the respect he had lost. As for Jasmine, maybe this chapter will help her reflect, not just on how she tells her story, but on how she builds a better future for herself and her son. Because let's be honest, when love turns into betrayal, and betrayal turns into a legal battle, there are no real winners unless someone decides to stop the cycle. So what happens next? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear: the truth may take time, but it always finds its way. If this story surprised you or made you look at things differently, show your support by liking this post. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into real celebrity stories and courtroom drama. And tell us in the comments, was Kirk's move a true comeback or just a smart media plan? Was Jasmine silenced or was she finally held responsible? Let's talk about it. And until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and stay tuned.